It's a colorful foresight where we intuitively connect from within. And it's woo woo time where we connect our woo woo into our mundane living. Hello, this is Sylvia, Colorful Foresight, and here we have PD of
Hi.
Arrow Lounge. This is
Hello.
hello, hello, hello. So remember, this is all about you. So even though you're listening to her and I, this relates to you somehow. Even if you're not a person who has much anxiety, but if you're like all about intuition and things like that, you might be feeling like a lot of energy. And so if it's not anxiety, you might be feeling a little off balance. But also in part two, it's about hearing your intuition on a very subtle level. So that's what everybody wants. So it's easy to pick up when you're calm, but what if when you're not calm? What if when your monkey mind is active? So that's the time when you really want it. You can't go around in life carrying a deck of cards or a pendulum. So, you know? So, I mean, a lot of you probably, like PD and I, we could hear our intuition, but not you. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. I can't hear it when I have the monkey mind on or when I'm anxious. So that's why this is part two. Part one, I'll put it up there somewhere or in the description. It started out with anxiety and intuition, but then evolved to we'll go, well, how can we listen to our intuition where because sometimes we have anxiety, we don't want to hear something. So then it gets to level 10. So it got to a point where how can we hear it even when it's subtle level and you have all these noise? And that's where her and I are going to share on that. We're just kind of going with the flow. But, consider yourself like, how, ask your guide, please help me to hear my intuition on a more subtle level, even whether I'm calm or not calm. So that's why I put a brace in the sacred flow. Because intuition between you and your divine is very sacred. If you don't like this idea of divine, you and nature is very sacred. You and your body is very sacred. Maybe you're a physical person and things like that. So, anything you want to add, PD, before we continue?
Well, I just think, last time we had a really great discussion. And, just coming to that aha moment of it doesn't have to get to where it's crazy, right? We're trying to make it to where that we can listen to our intuition before it gets crazy. And something that I noticed, that I learned, when I was working in the school, is that it's extremely hard for people to learn when they have anxiety. So like, or like when they have ADHD or things like that. So I would have to find ways of helping them, the students, adapt with those things. And so there were tools and things that, like, while they were sitting in the classroom, that we would give certain students, like if a student had ADHD, fidgets. A fidget could be used when they were feeling anxious. Or we also did things like take the students to the occupational therapy room and do wall push-ups or exercise, releasing things in the physical manner, things like that. There's so many different
I
things.
wish I had that tool when I was a kid.
Yeah, like if we were fidgeting, they told us to set it down, right? Like we didn't get those
Now it'd
luxuries.
be like,
But they're trying to listen to your intuition before everything goes kabam in your face, right? So I got to thinking about that to myself. And, you
well, how
know,
did it show up this month? Because that was kind of our homework for this month. I have
okay,
an example,
why
or
don't you
maybe
go first?
yeah, I'll share that maybe comes up, especially if you guys are watching. So there's a lot of stuff going on, so I'm not going to share everything. But one moment, my mother was in the hospital, so now she's home. So my sister and I've been taking care of her. So I take care of her during the day, she take care of her at night. My mother's very independent, so she wasn't being independent. So imagine doing everything. So she's a diabetic. So she had that sensor thing. They have it now. You don't have to prick your finger. You have this
Mhm.
thing, you check it. Now, the problem with that is you only have this one device to check it. If you get a new device, then you lose the sensor and you have to get a new one. They're not cheap. They last 2 weeks and it goes by the insurance. So my sister and I are already anxious. We're an anxiety type of person. And she looked every part of the room. I'm like, where could it go? It could only go from here to there. And I was in a bad mood anyway. So she's like, calm down. And I said, where could it be? I said, I'm gonna go downstairs to get my pendulum, and maybe that figure out what room it is. Right? I couldn't find my pendulum. I go upstairs, the angel falls on the floor, the wing fall off. I'm like, freak it, I'll put it in the garbage. I'm getting a new angel. I'm not gonna make meaning out of it. So everything was going caca. So I took it at the time because I've been working on hearing my intuition on a subtle level. And I said, okay, Divine, what is this about? They're like, you can let go of the pendulum, listen to your intuition. And so, how am I going to hear when I'm already like frustrated, not in a great space? My sister's anxiety, and but I trust it because there've been other scenarios, but I'm only speaking on this particular scenario. So I told my sister. My sister's totally afraid of her gift. She freaked out. She's even like a medium and all that. I'm like, embrace it, make money out of it. It's something to help people. No, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I told my sister like, what do you feel on your shoulder? Yes or no. So we joke around with that. I could kind of play it with her a little bit, but I can't do it too often because it freaks her out. Um, so I said, Tina, I'm getting it in this room, but I don't know where. She goes, me too. I said, okay. She goes, I'm gonna do this thing. So I'm like, is it in this house? First of all, can we look in the garbage? I said, in the house. I keep hearing it's nearby. And so then we kept going to the living room, but we couldn't find it. And my sister already looked, I already looked. And I'm not trusting my intuition because I rely on too much on pendulum and cards lately. My spirit guide been telling me, listen to your intuition. Colorful foresight, it's really not supposed to be new agey. For everybody has intuition, and not everybody's into cards and pendulum. So I kind of
Mhm.
use it at the crush. But remember, I asked my spirit guide, teach me how to be more in tune, especially when I'm anxious, when I can't really think. So I heard that. That was clear. So I said, my sister checked it out. In the living room, yes. Is it by mom? Yes. And then I said, is it right by mom? Yes. I heard it. And she goes, is it in the pocket? The whole time was in her pocket. I was laughing out loud because my spirit guide's like, I told you, stop, listen. My sister was like, I'm going to have a panic attack. She didn't like it. I said, Tina, everybody had intuition. You don't even have to be woo woo on that. So what it taught me is um, by making the intention with my spirit guide about listening on a subtle level, they've been showing me. So, for example, when I came back down, the pendulum was right there, right there. I'm like, where was it before when I was looking for it? So, that's going to help to embrace the sacred flow because the sacred flow is not all when I'm kumbaya. It also has to be when I'm not in my, I'm not, but I also are being more aware and I'm listening to and then I have my sister. So that was like, wow, this is a great example that I had a moment with my sister and also I could share this. So it's just making that intention. And then Divine been showing me this month about intuition on a subtle level. So what comes to your mind as you listen to me share? And anybody else in the room, you could share as well.
Um, well, first of all, I wanted to comment on your story is, that was a great story. So, you were talking about being in a bad mood anyways when you first started out, right?
Yeah,
So that's one of the things that I find is like my disposition where I'm at when things start to sort of unravel and
yeah,
things are
right.
not going right and then all of a sudden I start to unravel, right?
Yeah,
one way for me not to go down that rabbit hole is for me to stop and have a reset. I sometimes actually have to remind myself, okay, you have to stop. Because if you continue, because I so related to that story in so many ways. If I would have, if I was in that situation and would have continued on with my bad mood, and I would be in a condition where I couldn't do anything, just like with the students when they're anxious, nervous, their ADHD is going in full force and whatnot. They can't learn. And so I can't function when my mood starts to unravel. So I have to be really, really like, I have to be aware. And you're talking about awareness in here too. And that's, I think, one of the keys to, stopping a problem, stopping, being able to even listen to your intuition, right? Because how can you listen to it when you're already in a funk, right? So I thought that was a great story. It was a perfect example of how, sometimes we shoot ourselves in our own foot before we even get started, right? Like, because it's like we're already starting to go down the hole, go down that rabbit hole. And so I have to have a self-awareness. I have to literally remind myself, okay, PD, stop. Let's take a reset. Take a couple of deep breaths. I literally, and as dumb as it sounds, it really helps. Like hold it for a second and then I'm like, oh, I have some oxygen to my brain. I can think. Imagine that. But I'll tell you, Sylvia, one thing that I've really been doing after our talk last month is I've been doing a ton of introspection with myself. I've really been looking inside here. And one thing that I learned that I have to stop doing is doubting myself. Doubt gets in the way of our intuition. How many times have you not just known something, Sylvia? Probably more often than not. You just know it.
I mean, that's a perfect example. They made it so loud for me and my sister. We could totally doubt, lack of trust, and all that, and needing tool where intuition's right here,
And
right? Tools are
I
fun, by the way, but I'm just saying.
and I think that it's so amazing how everything happens for, I really am one of these firm believers in, and everything happens for a reason. And that pendulum was not, it was not in the equation for you that day. They said,
No,
huh.
and like I told you, when I came back to look for it, right there.
Right.
I think
Right.
they did it.
They said, Sylvia, not today, sis. You don't need that because you
You didn't ask,
already have
right?
it. It's
Right,
already here. And it was just, Spirit was proving to you, you already have it within you.
right.
And so I think so many times we just doubt ourselves and we don't trust ourselves and we aren't truthful with ourselves sometimes.
And
And
going back to an anxiety,
yeah.
where we've been in a situation where we had to get help, um, and knowing that it's just anxiety, not your heart rate, not all this and that. Um, I mean, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's just a math, and I have to drink magnesium to calm down or whatever. But that part of listening to intuition, 'cause I'll go, "Oh my God, am I gonna die?" The intuition's like, "No." Da 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 da. It's like you said, the doubt thing. So,
Mhm.
and the problem is, I have a part of me that goes, "What do you think? Your intuition gonna say yes? You're gonna die?
So
You're
you're
not listening."
arguing. You've got the good Sylvia on one side and the bad Sylvia on the other, and they're talking to each other about the intuition. That's
Not when the
hilarious.
pendulum is good. It's like, okay, Sylvia, fine. Just relax.
So, no, I do the same exact thing. I think that I think it's great that you talk about these things because How many people have gone through that same scenario? So many people have gone through that scenario where they're saying, okay, don't panic. Oh, yeah, what do you think that's going to do? I said, don't panic.
The devil on his shoulder, the angel on his shoulder, totally. Because
Yeah.
remember, the devil's not always about evil. It's about the devil is like it could be your monkey mind, it could be doubt, it could be your ego, it could be lack of trust and all that. So that's how you could see it, the devil
Mhm.
and the angel, so to speak.
So,
Yeah. So intuition on subtle level. You're watching the video, you're in luck. That means you're ready for the next level to hear at a subtle level. Not just when
mhm,
you use tools, because these are great. They totally help. The
mhm.
pendulum and all the other stuff. But if you're walking in the woods or there's a fire scenario or things like that, you're not carrying this stuff, so your
Right? It's
intuition
like,
is
wait,
yelling
let
at
me
you.
get my cards to put this fire up.
And
You
that's
know?
another thing. I was telling PD that having intuition does not mean you're a new ager, even though we
Yeah.
like that. 8 billion people, everybody more or less have intuition. So it shows up in so many different ways, right? Cops have hunch, business people have gut feeling. What do you call it? T-shirts, they have to use the sense of things, sixth sense, and things like that. Karen, it's okay to use the pendulum, but I'm saying like we also got to rely on our intuition.
Karen, I love my pendulum too.
Me
Like,
too. Pendulum. I keep pendulum. Pendulum. No,
I mean,
pendulum.
literally, like my right hand man is the
Yeah,
pendulum
it's
boy.
not a bad thing, but it's just like, thank God we have all these awesome tools. Because a lot of time our intuition will help use our eyes where we see sign of synchronicity. Those are
Mhm.
tools. Like you have like the right kind of billboard will give you that message, the movie, a book, or something like that. So it shows up in so many different ways.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway, going back to intuition on subtle level, where PD and I wanted to work at listening to our intuition, especially when we're getting to that point of it being high alert. Because maybe we didn't hear it at level 1 or 2, doubt, 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 and then it's like, wait the fuck, da, 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 da.
yeah, then all of a sudden you turn around and it's screaming at you, and there's a whole dumpster fire. I totally understand this, Sylvia. And it was meant, our intuition was given to us to survive. That was its original, I
That's
believe,
right,
purpose.
right?
I mean, before everything was all technology, and that's
Mhm.
all we had. And so I think that we're living, I don't remember, I think it was I can't remember, an Albert Einstein quote or something along the sorts, but it was something along the sorts of making this point of like, we strived for all this technology, but in the end, we're going to go back to the basics, sort of a thing.
That's why we're
And
tapping from within.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
And
but
I'm sorry, it is a mind body physical thing because if you're talking about Native American, um, even though they were known as spiritual beings, they always had that one shaman that led the tribe, that was Estra. But hunters and stuff, they rely not just the innate intuition, but connecting with nature and like the common practicality of the sun rise and go down. Like it's a little bit of everything. It's all part of it. So
well, and I mean, think about, back before there were grocery stores and whatnot, like you had to prepare, like you had to hunt, use your farming skills,
mm,
in order to produce the food that you were going to have to survive on. So you had to use them. So you were forced into using them back in the day. So now everything is extremely convenient for us. So sometimes I force myself to step away from the convenience to step more into my intuition, just like what you did with your pendulum. You know, sometimes we have to have that moment where it's like, okay. And for you, I think spirit was sort of, or whatever, you may call it, was guiding you into that moment.
oh
For
yeah,
me, sometimes it's like, spirit will say to me, they'll be, my spirit guides will say to me, no, do it the hard way. Don't rely on so much of this technology. Get your hands in it, feel it, do it, help build up your intuition so it's stronger. Because I have a tendency of wanting to be a little bit lazy sometimes and take the easy route. But another thing that I noticed though, Sylvia, that has been kind of helping me keep my everything at a, listening at a subtle level is maintaining my balance. Really trying to strive for things that don't throw my balance off, because, and I have to also be perceptive enough to know what those things are. If I do this, it's going to take my scales and tip them this way, that sort of a thing. And, that's this whole introspection thing that I've sort of come into within the last month.
Yeah, we have so much distraction. So the
Yeah.
idea of tuning in, the message for you guys that are watching is, the creator here, a lot of people know this. Speaking of tool, one of the creator here, the Lights There from Chris Ann, and most of us might have thought of this, but she said that we must develop our intuition, especially in the world of AI. And it goes back to technology. You lose what you're going to trust, especially when they're coming with all these advanced things. What are you going to trust? You have to listen from within, not outwardly. Because like the Seven of Swords, it's like a thief. You're ripping yourself off from using a natural ability. Like all these tools are great and they're wonderful, but we have to listen from within more, because what happens is you lose your sense of connection with your divine. You're looking outwardly versus inside and connecting with divine, And what happened when you're in this space and you can hear like me and my sister like being fragile, and I can't think straight. And then finally we took that. I heard the intuition tell me, actually they forced it because looking for the pendulum. And then I said, okay, knowing that I was working on intuition, where is it? It's like I kind of felt something going to happen, but I didn't know. And what happened, it goes back to introspection that PD talking about, reset. It so this is what happened is a lot of people are also learning about the intuition. They're getting more into the spiritual stuff and they're learning from themselves. But life is a journey, it's ever going. And also, a lot of people are going to people on YouTube, getting reading and stuff, which is great. Could I do it? I just had a reading first time with Linda G. She's awesome. So nothing wrong with that. It's always fun. But you're relying too much on the other. Use them as a fun tool, especially if they are gifted and they are good. But it's just a tool. It's not something that, because that's why you get addicted to them. You lose your sense of relying on yourself. Like I remember when I first started going to New Age, I went to way too many psychics and stuff like that. I still would have that tendency, but I learned and I I've learned, So you find yourself like always needing answers, stuff. You give too much power to somebody else. So you have to listen from within. So that kind of like you and me giving the power to anxiety versus listening to the subtleness of the anxiety. I mean, of the intuition.
Well, and I think that it's interesting.
Anxiety be more subtle. That would be nice.
Well, and I think that it's interesting that you talk about kind of like asking, a lot of like asking, different psychics a lot of different times and things like that. Different questions and whatnot. Sometimes I find with the anxiety, the more questions that I ask,
right?
The more anxious I get. And sometimes we just need a break, right? We just need, like I said, that reset moment, because as an anxious person, thoughts are all, especially with ADHD, my goodness, thoughts are always rolling in and out of your head so quick. And it's like, sometimes hey, Phoebe, I haven't seen you in a minute. Sometimes I just need a break. Like all these questions don't need to be answered all the time, Sometimes just enjoy life a little bit, take a little bit of a
That's like
moment.
overthinking. It's just a lot of rattling. You
Right.
know? It's
And you're
like you
not
ever write
finished.
notes in class and you write so much, and you look at it like I should have just paid attention more. It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, she
Yeah.
loves your hair, Phoebe.
Oh, I used to do hair with Phoebe. Phoebe
Oh,
and I worked together back in the day. Hi, Stoney. It's good to see you. All my buddies are showing up here. I'm so excited. But yeah, no. I
so
don't
that's
know.
how intuition on subtle level and breaking the sacred flow. So even though you're hearing me and PD talk, it's all about you. That
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Let me pull some cards here. I
So
just want to
I'm
see.
going to continue with the journey about intuition on subtle levels. Especially, really did help me this month because I had other scenarios that were intense, and it was able to help me. And I did use the pendulum sometime when I can't, when I need it. It's okay to use it, but not like all the time. But it's helping me with listening to my intuition. It's like a reunion with myself and with my inner divine. Um,
Um, oh
like
my gosh.
what
Sylvia,
you get?
I'm pulling
Uh-oh.
some neat cards.
Ooh.
Um, so I pulled the Hierophant in reverse here. And
Oh.
so this is all talking about a growth mindset. It's where your mind is at, right? So the Hierophant in reverse is saying if you aren't in the frame of mind where you're in a growth mindset, where you are able to listen and be able to perceive those subtle things that are the universe is trying to tell you before they have to scream it at you, you're not going to get the message. Is what it's saying. You got to, it's saying focus on getting yourself in a growth mindset. I'm open to new things. I'm open to new perceptions that are going to direct me into seeing what these guides, whatever it is in your life, or even your intuition in general, is trying to tell you. If you're not open to listening to it, you're not going to hear it, right? And then it's also saying, like, just what we were just talking about, the Seven of Cups moment. Don't have too many choices. Don't make it to where there's so many choices. Maybe take this down to 3 of those, right? Do you really need all 7 of those up in your face? Probably not. And then here we go right here. I love this one. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. You might need to talk about things with other people. You might need to reach out and sort of access your support system. Work with other people because come bring it back in. Come on, Cam. My Cam is getting
Sounds
all
like you're
fuzzy.
getting fuzzy.
Don't you dare. Sometimes if I
Unfuzz.
point at it,
I'm fuzz.
I'm fuzz.
I'm fuzz. Ooh! That's very
Magic.
Harry Potter for a second.
Sometimes when we are in our anxiety state, we don't want to be around other people, right? But it's not always necessarily the best thing for us, because what happens? So, like, okay, Sylvia, I'll give an example. Like when I was having my anxiety, and I was like, Sylvia, I can't come on. I can't come on. You know, did I? Even though I was having it, did I really learn anything from not going on with you? But I came back and I pushed through, and now we're here having these great conversations with each other, and I'm finding I'm not so different than you.
Well, I'm gonna say because you share that, you probably were surprised when I understood.
I kind of
Like when
was, because
I was like, "Oh, I totally get it. Don't worry."
yeah, I was like, wait, what? You're not mad at me? What?
And in fact, I was like, "Let's do it another time with pre-record or whatever." You're like, "Oh, you know."
But I'm glad that I sort of overcame that, and then proceeded to do these and discuss this with you, because so much has come out of that. because I followed through with it, So being in that growth mindset to want to grow, to be able to perceive and listen to the message that is trying to come in, you know, you know, are you saying, yeah, I want to listen, but you're just kind of being like, yeah, whatever. Or are you really listening? Are you really trying? I think that's kind of key. So got to put a little work into it.
Yeah. What I noticed sometime is you saying, do I really want to do it? What happened is I noticed my brain or I don't know if the ego, whatever, want to get to it before me. So it's like it's not listening. Like sometimes, even right now when I'm talking to you, I notice my mind is active, not really present with you. So that's good awareness. Same thing with intuition.
Oh no, for real.
I
Like,
think
and
the ego want to like over by the intuition sometimes.
oh, for sure it does. I think for sure it does. And sometimes do you find that you don't like, okay, self-esteem also plays, I think, like, and confidence plays a huge part in this for me. And am I going to listen to this, this my intuition? Because that doubt, that self-doubt creeps in, and it starts, playing the little bad Sylvia that's sitting on bad evil Sylvia.
Right, let's do that. The angel on the shoulder and the devil
Right.
on the
So
shoulder.
let's see, let's get a red one, and then we'll get a black one or a blue one
Yeah,
maybe.
you're the red
So, good
angel.
PD is over here saying, no, you should trust yourself. You know what's right. And bad PD is over here saying, you're crazy.
Last time you've been wrong. And then this
You
one's
were
like, you're not always wrong. You're
yeah,
always wrong. How you gonna trust yourself?
girl.
You're having a bad hair day. Do you really want to go live? And then with this one, it's like, get over yourself. Nobody's looking at you here.
I know it. Hey, Swampy. What if you have ridiculous ADHD? Girl, that's Phoebe. Me.
Ah, exactly.
I know. I have to literally everything that I have to do, I have to take a timeout moment and kind of chunk things to where I'm like, okay, I can tackle this little bit of my subconscious right now. Okay, and I have to break it up into little increments so I can handle it. Because if it
Wait,
looks
let's do
like a big
this.
job,
Okay, so how we're gonna do with the subtle, like you guys on screen. This is medicine I was taking. Sorry. So, uh, okay, intuition on subtle level. Oh my God, listen to your intuition. You can't hear. Listen to your intuition. You need the pendulum.
you know what? Yeah, right. No, mine's saying, um, you know that you're right. You're usually right a lot of times when you actually give yourself a chance. And this one's saying, you're schizophrenic. You're just nuts over here. And it's like, can I catch a break? So yeah. I feel you.
Well,
No,
maybe we should do a show on that. Devil, which intuition are you listening from? The
right?
angel or the devil? That might be
Right. Of
that
course,
might
I
be a
agree.
good one next month. I don't know.
But no, I do think that there are ways to to tackle it, like we said, without it going full blown
Yeah.
dumpster fire, right? Like it doesn't have to get to that point. And
Right, right. It's not always hunky dory, but at least it's not like it's like spectrum. Like it's like this way. Then you want to go that way, and then goes back here. When I had that moment I shared earlier, I was getting to this level. It's not 10 because that's like, but what happened is it built up that trust factor. That experience between me and my sister, trust factor goes up. So every time we have like with we learn something new about it, intuition on a subtle level, the trust factor grows. Especially even the devil will start trusting it, so to speak. Like I don't know if that's right, but the ego start trusting it. I don't know if that's right, or the I can't. Oh, I don't hear the devil as much. Could I have that trust? This seems like there's many aspects to us. The doubt, the
Oh,
part
yeah.
that doubt, and then the so it's just practice, just like anything.
But what I find is like if I work on my confidence, if I do self care, if I work on
Right.
my confidence, if I do the things that build myself up instead of all that tearing myself down,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm able to listen to my intuition better because
Right.
I'm
Comment.
not doubting myself. I'm not putting myself down. I'm not suppressing myself. I'm lifting myself up. So, I'm actually again they're in that growth mindset stage where I actually can listen. I can. I'm receptive to a message. There's a lot of times when I just completely shut myself down. And so for me, confidence is what helps me be able to open up my ears a little bit, feeling good, feeling healthy, because when I'm in a funk and feeling a little on the depressed side and, I'm not open. I'm not in the place to want to learn something or listen to a subtle anything. I just want to do me and want to be selfish and kind
Yeah.
of.
What came to me? How come sometimes my intuition really loud during the worst time?
I
Like
think, I think,
help. That
yeah,
like that.
I think it's trying to protect us,
Right.
I think it's
Might be the growth factor, like you said. It's just teaching us.
yeah, yeah. I mean, gosh, there's been so many times that I haven't listened to myself, and after I've done it, what did I do? I wanted to kick myself because I knew the entire time, you know. And it's another thing that I also have to work on is like not setting myself up for failure in a way because then I'm down in the dumps and I'm not in a place where I can do anything, right? And sometimes I'm not, Sylvia, I'm sometimes not honest with myself. And I think that, yeah, and so I'll put all these unrealistic expectations on me, and I'm trying to abide by all these and fulfill all these unrealistic expectations that I've created for myself. And it's like, how can you really listen to any intuition? Because you're not even really being real with yourself because you've created all these unrealistic expectations. So it's like I've been trying to really be truthful with myself and say, PD, is that take a minute? Is that actually going to serve you for your highest good? Are you going to be able to fulfill something like that? Don't just agree to whatever because you want to do it or you live in an idealistic, you have an idealistic way of thinking. Is it really you? And I find a lot of times I'm not even there to even listen to intuition because I'm not even being authentic with myself to begin with. So I've really, really been working on trying to be truthful to myself.
I never thought of. I mean, yeah, it's like you're triggering something in me. Not a bad thing, but the idea of. I mean, look, we're always growing. So it's not about, oh, I'm gonna be the authentic person, 100%, and all
Right.
that. But it's like never thought about how the lack of authenticity could affect the intuition.
Oh, all the time.
That's gonna be my. That's what I'm gonna work on this month.
Because
That's
if
a good
you're
one.
not really living your truth, right? What do you even really need the intuition isn't really have a purpose.
That probably just flowed, right? It would
Yeah,
just happen. The
right.
emotion, the sacred flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Anybody that's watching, you have any idea to what her and I are touching on right now? What comes to your mind or anything? Please contribute.
Does anybody in the chat is anything like that we're saying, does it resonate with you guys? Do you
Yeah.
guys feel some of these same feelings? Like, do you guys ever like feel like, like we said, like where you've got kind of like the duality of yourself sort of arguing with each other on your shoulders? Do you guys like go through anxiety type things too? I'm
And
curious because it's not always been so easy for me to talk about these things. And sometimes you feel very alone, right? But once you get to talking about them, then you find you're not so alone. Authenticity for sure.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
something I'm gonna explore on because I feel like I don't really understand it fully about that.
I think it's really important to be real with yourself, Like, okay, like,
Oh, you're right. It could be like I'm hearing my intuition, but I'm pretending I'm not hearing it or something like that. Oh, and what does Swampy say?
Swampy
That's
says.
amazing. I feel the same way with my metaphysical practicing, but I'm human also. When I go to sleep, my mind keeps thinking.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I've been doing with that Fatima? It doesn't always work. Could I just share with her behind the scene how I'll get like these little mini nightmares at night, but it doesn't go to level 10 because I get them like a lot. And I calm myself, but I'm like, what is this? I wake up the heart racing. I have to sit down, calm down. It's just random. And I do ask for protection during the night. But last night was good. But I'll just tell because my mind is active. I learned to say, okay, divine, take care of it. I throw in a box. Otherwise, it keeps me going. So what did Phoebe say? The big one or more, I don't believe in the messages because there's so many. Like 10 different lanes going on 30 different highways with traffic controllers shouting, but they're the different. Is that like intuition or that active mind? See, they're the different. You have 10 different things. It could be you picking up energy that's different than intuition.
Phoebe, and I kind of think that you might be very empathetic.
Mm,
And empaths have that feeling all the time, like 30 different highways with, like what she's describing. It's just an influx of like a whoosh of emotions sometimes with all these different things. But Swampy said up here that it's amazing. I feel the same way with my metaphysical practicing, but I'm human also. That's one thing, Swampy, that I think that we need to like always remind ourselves that we're human. We're going to make mistakes. Our intuition isn't, it's not going to be all the time. We're not going to follow it all the time. Hey, tarot ass backwards, it's good to see you.
Jeff.
We're not going to follow it all the time. We're not going to be right 100% of the time. That's why we are human. We're not gods and goddesses down here. It just doesn't work like that. So,
Yeah. And
we have
Phoebe,
to be
again,
kind.
yeah, I'm gonna say that's not the intuition is like a five. It's like it really so it what she said, you're picking up a lot of different things. That wouldn't be intuition, it would be like 30 different intuition. It would be you have the intuition, then you're picking up, just being here, we could pick up energy from some because we're all one. So we might be picking up energy from Africa, somebody in Africa
Yes,
around
yes.
you. So that might help you to realize it's a monkey mind, you know what I mean? Different things. So that's really interesting right there. Authenticity. If we learn more about ourselves, we're gonna know which voices are ours. Because if you're not self-assured, if you have like certain voices that's not good and you don't have a good sense of self, you think it's yours. And it's not. It may be in your ancestors.
Um,
Oh
be-
my God. I'm glad you didn't call you that.
I've given tarot ass backwards a hard time. He meant to say hugs. The hard part is narrowing the energies and messages down to one or two. Yes,
Totally. Totally.
because
Yeah.
and you'll learn, Phoebe. I really believe that you have gifts, and
Yeah.
you'll
That's right.
learn. I've known Phoebe for years. You'll learn how to start filtering that out and what you can do. Grounding is a huge part of that. to
Just being
keep
aware of
yourself
it,
grounded.
like
Yeah.
tonight, like, oh, you mean these 10 things are not all intuition? No.
So,
Yeah.
hey,
I'll
Tara
be like,
West.
listen, we could say PHAT, you're cool, but we're not calling each other names here. Well,
Right, right.
anything else before we wrap up? You have anything you want to add about how you've been hearing your intuition on a subtle level that you don't even need tool? Although part of your intuition could be getting sign and synchronicity. I've been told I need grounding, so that makes sense. I just started the dance for joy thing just to get more into my body. But does that mean
Um,
you start hearing Mother Nature talk to you?
you're okay. You're okay, Tara West, backwards. It's okay. I was teasing with you.
Yeah, he knows. He knows.
He's so sweet. Um, by the way, I put your book on my wish list. He wrote a couple of books. A Good Writ, I believe, is one, and I can't remember the other one, but I can remember the cover has mouths on it.
Oh,
Anyhow, sorry, I'm going. See, ADHD
me
squirrel.
too. You know what? I think I have it. I'm gonna go get a check on it.
I had a real. Oh, okay. This is what I was going to say. Um, one thing that I have been working on is just flat out blatantly asking universe or whatever, it does, speaks for itself. Asking universe and guides, whatever it is that you believe in, for signs. Show me signs. Show me how to do this. If I start to elevate, please, universe, show me a sign that I am starting to get elevated so that I don't go there. And I find,
That's positive because
yeah,
you're focusing on positivity. Because, like I told you, just that intention on my spirit guide working on intuition subtle level, they've been showing me. So that's great. So elevate. That they're gonna show you nice ways that you're
mm-hmm,
elevating.
mm-hmm. Yeah, some people get numbers, some people, and literally they will give you those signs. If you ask for it, you will start getting it. So, yep,
I
yep.
used to be into the numbers, but not anymore.
No,
But it's cool. No, because there's so many things we can learn how to connect with the universe. So right now you're into the numbers. Go for it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, that's kind of what I've been learning and thinking about it all. So I'm growing. I'm growing because of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's a cool feeling.
By the way, just to let you know, part of anxiety, I mean, just in general, people have anxiety, but being gifted, a lot of people who are gifted tend to have more anxiety because they like a Phoebe. They don't realize all these energy, especially they're highly sensitive more than the average.
Yeah.
They, if you're, and we're all aware, but if you're not aware, you have all these things tapping into. Like the Long Island medium, she said she used to have anxiety all the time until she realized she was a medium.
Mm-hmm.
So part of
Mm-hmm.
it like could be ADHD, could be this and that, or could be just worried, but it's also the energy.
Yeah. Oh, I totally believe. I've also figured out like tips and tricks to help curve me getting like, so okay, for example, when I go into Walmart, when I go into the
Oh,
grocery store, I know, right? Just saying that word Walmart, everybody's like, okay, anxiety is at a level 10, right? There's your trigger right there. Before I even go in there, I put in my earbuds, and the entire time that I'm in there, I listen to some sort of music while I'm in there because I'm empathetic. And I'm not picking up all of the feelings, all of the negativity, the sit down in that cart.
I
That
must buy. You gotta buy.
right,
Wait.
right. Hold on.
Buy this. I don't have money. I must get this.
Yeah, no, they're all going over there. There's some baby screaming over there, and then there's some married couple fighting over there, and then there's somebody in a funk over there, and then here's good and bad PD saying, should you react to them and give them a dirty look? Or no, this is bad PD. Give them a dirty look. No, don't. Ignore. Listen to your earbuds. No, but I do. I put the earbuds in and it helps block all that out. So I'm starting to learn those kinds of things, you know. So
I know like autistic people, even ADHD, whatever, and it's so
hmm
cool. They use headphones.
hmm
Because you know how, remember like 20, 30 years ago, if you're autistic, it's like the end of the world. Now they're like, for the
not
most part, functioning, but they have like fidget tool. They have, um,
headphones that block
right,
noise
like
cancel.
that. So I think we're all going to be in headphones.
For real though, it's not an uncommon thing and it's really helpful, honestly. You know, like music is so therapeutic too, like the frequencies, the different frequencies and stuff. So I'm just say autistic people are extremely, yes, they are. Yeah, very much so. So,
I
uh,
think we're learning about a lot of stuff because of autistic people, because they teach us certain things, you know?
and they are so in tune. I have found so many beauties in, I think it's a gift in a sense. In some sense it's a gift. You know, it's one of these things where it's like a crazy phenomenal intelligence, you know, like up here it's an extreme, but like the communication is off, you
Right.
know. But they have opened, working with, you know, people with autism, has really opened up my eyes. Like, I swear they are so much more in tune than just your average Joe.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. Um, what happened is because they don't have that ability to bullshit.
Yeah.
That they're teaching, no, because a lot of us socially are learned to, hold it in, da 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 da. Not that it's good what they do, but
Right.
because of them, we're learning, like, if something's bothering us energetically, I need help. So here we are pretending. Meanwhile, they have like different tools to, calm down. So it's very interesting. Very interesting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially the new kids and all that. They all have different vibes. Just like every generation, it's
Yeah.
evolution. It's just that's the way it goes. Even like all the pronoun stuff, it probably just kid picking up that we're a spiritual being. But the problem is we want to label everything, we want to break down everything. We don't need to do that so much. But it's just showing us that we're so broad, you know what I mean, energetically. Or even like if you think about now my if I had ADHD kicking in, the ET, evolution down the line, they're very androgynous in nature. So it's just
Yeah.
like, but anyway, let's go focus.
Right. No, I was gonna go down that rabbit hole too. I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
let's
wait,
focus.
she should do that with Deanne. That's a good topic with Deanne right there.
So no,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm getting more real with myself. So
No, but that's I'm gonna take that. If anything I take from today, besides the fun, it's the authenticity thing and how that affect my intuition,
you're not gonna.
especially in dating and stuff. Because
Oh
my
yeah.
intuition will say the right thing, but then if I'm not authentic and I don't have a strong sense of self in certain things, there's certain areas you could be strong and in certain area not. Um, my intuition tell me already about this situation, but the doubt or the lack of authenticity is dragging it by me not listening to my intuition. So that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Boy, dating is like definitely. I'm so glad I don't have to do that. Thank God, Sylvia, that I don't have to
Oh,
date.
you're in a you have a husband, right?
Yes, I have a husband because I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do
You
it.
know,
But listen, that's the perfect like example
example.
of having to follow your intuition because you're like,
Yeah,
this just isn't working out, you know,
right.
or I don't know how I feel about that person, you know.
Right.
Phoebe's like dating
And
sucks.
then the idealistic, like, oh, give him a chance, and the intuition's like, no.
You're- Listen to that.
Michelle William, I bought earbud and vibration from them were too strong for me. Had to take them off. That were while listening to Dave Matthew Band though, so I should try them again with something less.
I
This
could
is like
see.
practical, the
Yeah,
practical.
yeah.
I think it's we have so much energy going on, in general right now. Maybe could, like she said, the things are so fast, and then we
Yeah.
had this person saying you must listen to your intuition because, especially in the world of AI, you're not going to know what's real or what's not real. So, going back to even what I shared with my channel, I'm changing the format because I got into like talking about tarot and all that, the new agey stuff, which is fine. The tool, but they're telling me you need to go back to what I said, colorful foresight, where you truly connect from within. I'm not connecting from within by looking outwardly.
Well, I think so. I
They're fun. They're fun,
I think they serve their purpose, but
Oh no, totally. They totally do.
but I mean, like, let's think about it. We start to kind of build up our intuition, right? Hey, shallow man.
Actually, doesn't it help you validate a lot of things you thought, and and then you see the card, you're like, oh yeah.
I think there's different levels to these because, like, okay, when you first start reading them and you pull the Hierophant, what's the first thing that you do? You go and you get that little book out, right? You get that book out and you're like, okay, the Hierophant means this. I mean, some people do that. I mean, some people do solidly just based on how they feel when they look at it. But I think that there's like an evolution, at least there was for me, of card reading. And, you start off with maybe the technical meanings of what these cards actually are. And then you start progressing into, okay, well, I've gotten kind of that, but let's start looking into what I feel when I see.
It comes like a charade. It's like
Yeah.
80% intuition and then visual.
Yeah,
and then they'll be like, how you get that? It's like it's just a store something and then everything else with intuition.
And it always amazes me too with them, like, we can pull the same card if you and I were reading together.
And be totally different, right?
And be totally different. That always really amazes me. And it just goes to show how I'm accessing my intuition, you're accessing yours, So, and it's a really cool, unique thing. Like, it kind of shows who we are, right? So our intuition is who we are.
And you know what? Some people may talk with the tree and get insight. You and I got.
You talk to a pen.
Okay, so up. Let us know what you thought about. Like, if you're hearing, make that intention to start hearing intuition on a subtle level. You don't have to do anything. The mind gets in the way. That's your mind. Just let it go, and then your spirit guide is going to show it to you. Because I just showed the example in the beginning. Like, I wasn't thinking about that. It just happened because I made that intention. Also, once you make that intention, you're like you said, you become more aware and different things. So what happened is I noticed because of that, I am embracing the sacred flow. Because a lot of time I might be stopping the sacred flow.
I stop the sacred flow a lot of times because I'm arguing with myself about if I'm right or wrong. Just go with it. Just go with it.
And having this channel, like, you get feedback from people. You notice, like, your trust factor gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would tell her, I don't know, but when I watch her, people give, even for me, like, if you get feedback, it just helps put in that bank, like, I could trust it, I trust it, and I trust it. And even if, like, I find myself maybe struggling or maybe inaccurate, I learn from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's usually because I was listening to the devil. It's like, that can't be it. And this one is like, I told you this. And you're like, this no.
It's okay to be wrong too. That's a part of Earth down here and being human. And here I did it.
Do it again. Unfuzz. Do it. Unfuzz.
Unfuzz.
It didn't work this time. Do it harder. Unfuzz.
My goodness.
I guess
I give
okay.
up. I give up.
Oh, Dina's here. So before we leave, Dina, I acknowledge using for verification, but I doubt myself constantly.
Hmm.
And you know what? Especially at the beginner, we don't want to be wrong, but you got to start practicing. Because a lot of time, it's not that you're wrong. It's like you're not fully seeing the whole picture, or you're not in that sacred flow. There you go. I maybe don't have to yell so loud. Just do it silently. But yeah, it's just practice. I do notice like having the channel is helping me with confidence, because a lot of time I look like I'm confident on, and I'm like, you have no idea. 5 minutes ago, I was like, oh, wondering if I should go on or not.
You know, there's a certain amount of like a rush too to doing this, like being on YouTube, like beforehand, like your heart starts to kind of come. It's like almost like performance anxiety in a way. Like, you know, you can start to feel your heart to kind of come up. And when you first get on, you know, you're kind of like, hi, I'm PD. How
But
are
then
you?
you notice then after a while you like having people show up and you have that feedback. It's like
Yeah.
you work off the energy of the room. The only thing is how you work. Like some people have like 18,000 in a room or 5,000. That's another. I think that's why they work you. They work your way up where you
Yeah.
can handle it.
That's and I struggle with that too, like, you know, when with doing these shows, especially when you're reading cards, like
Mm.
your eyes are closed, so you miss,
Oh,
you know, you sometimes you miss things, like when you're downloading, my eyes will be closed, so I'll miss things in the chat, and then somebody would get upset if I didn't say hello to them. And then on top of that, like you know, you're getting a message and you're having to, you know, answer a question, and then you've got a chat going on that's just popping over here, and it's like it's sometimes really hard to manage all of it at once. And so you know, a lot of times because of that, I still do a lot of pre-recordeds, because then I can go in the chat and just chill and watch myself afterwards and chill with my friends, and, you know, be a part of the chat and
yeah,
not
yeah,
have to worry about it, you know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's great. Also, I think like I know if somebody had 2,000 friends. It's not likely I'm going to get that personal one-on-one versus somebody who only had 200. Also, some people, what they do, they have, I haven't seen it, but they'll have another person read them while they do the reading. So that would be another option. Like I know a friend of mine, she's not in the screen, she's on the side, and her friend will do, you know, the entertainment part, and she'll read the comment, and then he goes with that. So there's like so many different ways. But
Yeah.
most of it, I think, you know, like we all know that once the number is too high, you're not going to get that personal one-on-one.
And
But again, pre-record is always the best. If that's
I
the
love
solution
it.
right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're watching this. That means your intuition going to be heard more on a subtle level. This is a sign. Embrace that sacred flow, and take care. Bye.
Bye.